Hey everybody, welcome back to NFI Hammer. I hope you're having a wonderful holidays. In this video, I will be painting the Red Gobbo Abominable Snowman, which is a fun, festive Christmas model. I'm really excited to get stuck into this one. There looks like to be lots of interesting and fun details, plus it's something completely different that I've never done before. So if you want to watch a beginner try and tackle this model, you've come to the right video. Let's get started. My wife for Christmas bought me this Red Gobbo Abominable Snowman figure, which was actually my only second individual Warhammer figure I've put together since I've been in the hobby for about 2 years now. The first one being the Doomstalker that I bought to celebrate getting 300 subscribers. So it's actually really fun to just crack open a pack like this. The attention to detail is really good, as is all Games Workshop's products I've noticed. Comes with this cool little manual thing that shows you all the build instructions, but also on the back has some painting ideas around color schemes. So it was really exciting. This was a nice Christmas gift, and I was ready to get stuck into it straight away. Assembling was pretty straightforward. My old glue finally died, so I'm now onto my second Citadel plastic glue. And this one comes with a base that's already detailed, similar to the Underworld's models that I've been painting. So I really appreciate not having to be too creative and just being able to use the base to tell the story, a bit like a diorama. The instructions, though, were very straightforward. It wasn't a click and plug in and build. You did need glue, which was a little bit surprising because I feel like with their new stuff, they seem to be doing a lot more of that. But I kind of preferred this because some of the pieces, such as the gun and the little elf thing, or grot, I guess, is very small and finicky. So this is what it looked like when it was all assembled. I didn't glue anything together because I thought it'd be easier to just do some sub-assembly and painting. So I'm using a Rust-Oleum flat white primer on this one. I was going to use grey, but they thought maybe I should just use white because there's quite a lot of snow in this and it might save me some time going over. However, I didn't really do a very good job with the priming here, and I think in hindsight I probably should have taken a bit more time and maybe done another layer here. But I was quite worried that I'd put it on too thick and lose some of the detail. So it's definitely an area that I kind of need to improve, is understanding how to best prime. So here I'm using Evil Sunz Scarlet red layer paint from Citadel, but really any red paint probably do the trick here. And I'm just painting in the Red Gobbo's cape with the red Christmas color here. Just for the whole video, I just use the same brush, which is this 03 paintbrush. I haven't really figured out how to use different paintbrushes and the purposes for different sizes and stuff, so I kind of just grab one brush and just use it for the whole thing. And I'm just picking out little details like the little grot's star on his hat, and this clock I'm kind of painting red as well. Red is pretty much the main color of this model. So the next thing is to do the skin tone of the Red Gobbo and the grot. And I've watered down this Ork Flesh contrast paint, but the problem I have is when I water down the contrast paint, a lot of the model kind of stays the base color, which in this case is white. So things like the lips and the nose, it doesn't really seem to color them correctly. I don't know what I'm doing wrong here, but if I apply the full undiluted contrast paint, it does, but it creates quite a dark impression. you know, and rather than doing it sort of diluted and building up layers. So if anyone's got any tips, please let me know in the comments below on how to kind of best use this contrast paint to get all the detail. But I'm just doing his face, his hands, his legs. Actually, I don't think he's got any legs visible, so. The next one is Dark Reaper, which is sort of this kind of blue-grey kind of color, and I'm just doing the boots with this color. I usually edge highlight black with this color, but I just thought maybe for the boots it would make sense. I did paint the snowman's eyes and nose and mouth with this, but later I'll go over it with the Abaddon Black because it didn't look right not being black. And I'm just trying to be careful and not get paint anywhere that, you know, I don't have to. Saves me just coming back and touching it up later. And yeah, the little Grot's boots as well. Can't forget about his as well. And now I'm using Gulliman Flesh to paint the pants. So he's got little, you know, kind of leather pants on. So I thought I'd try and use contrast paint to just develop my skills with it, as well as it will naturally kind of create the shadows and a bit of different textures rather than having to go back and layer it up. And then also underneath the model, which I don't think would actually ever been seen. And since I had this already out, I thought I would maybe try and paint the wood arms of the snowman with it. If you've watched any of my earlier videos, I always use like rhinox hide as a wood color, but I thought since I've already got this paint out, I could try using it. To me, it sort of reads as wood. Again, let me know in the comments if you think it worked or not. I wasn't sure if it's a bit too light. And then here I'm using Abaddon Black as the black color, but obviously you can use anything. And I am just painting the soles of the shoes black, just to help them kind of stand out a little bit from the Dark Reaper grey, and then doing the same to the grot. Normally I just make the feet all one color, but I thought I'd try and do 2 layers. And then, yeah, I'm painting the snowman's buttons black, just to make it look like the traditional Christmas snowman. But as you can tell from my accent, I'm from Australia, so we never actually have snow any time of the year, let alone Christmas. Our Christmases are quite hot. And so yeah, I just went over the Dark Reaper on the snowman's eyes and nose with black and painted in its hat. So for the little grot, I've got this Akhellian Green contrast paint, and I'm trying to paint his outfit this color. I just thought there isn't really any blue anywhere on the model, so it kind of makes sense for him to kind of stand out a little bit from the Red Gobbo, and again using contrast paint to practice using it, as well as to save me creating some depths and shadows. I should really have a little mini holding stand thing, because I found it quite difficult to grab onto his boots and paint the model while holding on, while trying not to get paint onto my fingers. It's just a little bit difficult. I should probably invest in that, or maybe Santa next year can bring me a little model holder. And now it's time to do Leadbelcher, which is a silver paint, but you know, any silver paint that you have would work equally as well. And painting the actual bomb that's in the snowman, as well as the grenades on the ground, as well as the base of the snowman and the cords as well. And then I ended up painting the little badge thing silver, as well as I tried to paint the boots silver, and he's wearing some goggles as well so I'm painting those silver. And the little grenade that he's throwing that's hidden in the snowball, also silver. So there's a lot of little details, including this little gun holster thing that he has at the back as well. So lots of things to miss. I think I had to go back a couple of times to get some additional stuff. But moving on now to gold color. So I'm painting the skull, I guess, or I don't know what you call that, on the hat gold, just to really make it pop and look festive-y, as well as the star on his jacket and his belt and his hat. Really brings it all together and make it look quite cool. And then there's also Christmas lights that are connected to the bomb, so I'm just painting them gold as well. And then finally he's got like one big gold tooth on the snowman. I don't know why. He's not a pirate or something with a gold tooth, so I don't know why the snowman needs it, but might as well. And then he's also got some earrings on his ears that I'm painting in gold as well, just to give him some bling. And I noticed, yeah, he's actually got this ear on the left-hand side there, so. Then this was the part that was kind of worrying me as well, but I've got the red paint out that I've been using for everything, and I'm just freehand painting the candy cane pattern. And I was really worried that I wasn't going to do a good job with this because I'm not good with freehand painting. Plus, like, the twirling aspect I thought would be really difficult, but because it's connected to the black hat, you actually only needed to kind of paint lines and make sure the lines join up on the other side. And then for the hat, I'm also painting these kind of red up and down lines along that kind of just break it up a little bit. It's really subtle, the red on the black, you can't really see it, but it does kind of give the hat a bit of texture as well. And then I'm going over just to give it an edge highlight. It's really small detail, but I think it worked well. And then this is where I'm kind of deviating from the box art, is that I'm kind of painting the bomb yellow, and I'm going to put yellow and black hazard stripe lights. The box art has them Christmas red and white, but I thought to do something a little bit different. And then I've also noticed there's these kind of rope belt things that hold the jingle bells to the hat or holding the coat on. So I'm just using the yellow while I've got it out. And then going back to Abaddon Black. And again, I'm just kind of freehanding painting these stripes, hazard stripes. I didn't do a very good job with this. It's probably the most embarrassing part of the model because I couldn't get the angle consistent because I kept turning it around and it's on a kind of a dome ball shape. So I'm kind of a little bit embarrassed by this, but it kind of worked in the end. Plus when you have the hat on the snowman, you can't see it anyway. And then while I've got the black out, I'm just painting the rims of the model as well, black to help kind of frame it and make it really pop. And then this step again, I kind of deviated, but I went Runelord Brass, which I use a lot on my Necrons. If you want to check out my Necron channel, I'm slowly painting every single Necron model that exists, but here I'm putting them on the Grot's hat, just to like little jingle bells, but mainly here on the clock that's used as like the detonator for the snowman. And I'm just painting in the little bell things here in the copper. But again, I really need some sort of holding device because it's really hard to paint around my fingers. Now, I was going to paint this like silver or gold, but I thought brass would help make it a little bit more interesting. And then finally, I'm using Seraphim Sepia, but you could probably use Agrax shade or some other colors, but he's got this kind of cloth in front of his groin and the Grot's hat here. I'm just giving it a bit of a weathered browny tinge to make it look more like, you know, a cloth or, fabric rather than like the white, because there's a lot of white already on the model with the snow and the inside insulation layer of the Red Gobbo's coat. So it just helps break it up. I'm trying to not just put paint in just one location. If I'm using one color somewhere, I try to use it somewhere else as well, just to help tie the model together. So by putting it on the hat and the cloth kind of makes it look, together. And then I've watered down this standard gray quite a lot. Like I thinned it down as much, more than I've ever thinned any paint down. And I'm just trying to gradually build up to a dark gray color on the smoke, because I've never really painted smoke before. So I was really nervous about how this would turn out. So I'm going very slowly and just kind of building up layers. I still don't think I did a very good job. I think it kind of ends up looking all the one color gray, but it was my first time, so need to be gentle. But yeah, I've always been nervous of painting smoke and stuff, so this was a good opportunity to kind of test it out. And then my only non-Citadel color paint here is Metallic Blue-Green by Mr. Hobby. And there's a couple of glass baubles and the Red Gobbo's goggles that I thought would look really cool using this color, because it's kind of like a glass texture. So he's got one on his gun, he's got one that he's clipped onto his earring here, which was a little bit of a tricky thing to paint because I really didn't want to get this paint anywhere else because it's quite thick. I don't think it's the same style of paint as the Citadel ones. And then his goggles, he's got just like a little lens in them that I'm trying to paint. But again, I'm trying to be really delicate here and not get any stuff. But the model's already looking really awesome at this point. So I'm just trying different things here. So I've got some Fire Dragon Bright Orange, and I'm just trying to put like the smallest amount on the smoke. And I'm going to go over it in a second with Nuln Oil to darken it again. But I'm trying to create the illusion of like fires going off in the middle of this smoke bomb, like a fuse or a wick or something. And as I said, Nuln Oil is, the beginner's best tool, because you can just cover it over everything and it just makes it look better. So any of the metallic bits that we painted earlier, I'm just going over with a little bit of Nuln Oil, like the gun and the grenades and the fuse. And this kind of just dirties it up a little bit so it doesn't look so, clean. And then, the yellow cords, you kind of lost some of the texture, so I just went over that. And then finally with the Red Gobbo's coat, I'm just kind of going over it here to try and bring some shadows and depths into it, because it's a lot of one color that's unbroken, and so it can kind of look a bit two-dimensional or plasticky. So by doing this, I'm trying to create more of a three-dimensional look to it. And then I've just got the red out again, the Evil Sun Scarlet, and I'm just trying to highlight some of the edges just to brighten it back up again. Otherwise it kind of looks a bit dark because you've just covered it with a black shade. So just around the edges or any sort of raised surface, I'll try and bring out the color of red again, because it did look good, but it was just too much red. So I'm trying to find a middle ground. And then finally I'm getting some Berserker Bloodshade, and this is a red shade, and I'm just putting it over the gold. And this kind of brings out a richness to the gold rather than sort of a plasticky, shiny gold. Had to take the snowman's head off here because it was a bit too hard to paint. And this is like an optional step. I'm not really sure if I liked it or not, but it was too late at this point and I'm not going to go back and repaint it all. But yeah, the gold star on his chest and the hat and stuff as well. And so here is the finished product. I've just glued it all back into place now, except for the snowman's head. And it looks really cool. Like, I had heaps of fun painting this model. It was nice to paint something that was outside of like the Necrons or the Underworld stuff and just do something silly and standalone. I really liked all the little detail on it. I also liked pushing myself with like the freehand painting, painting the snow, painting smoke, which I'd never done before, as well as practicing using contrast paint. I had heaps of fun doing this. If you enjoyed watching the video half as much as I did putting it together, please consider leaving a like, comment, or subscribe. It really helps me out. Anyway, thanks for watching and I hope you have a great holidays. Till next time, bye.